Americans love to eat and eat out. There are nearly 600,000 restaurants throughout the U.S. of all shapes and sizes, offering a variety of cuisines from fast food to fine dining. Yet the restaurant business can be a difficult one. Restaurants come and go because pleasing consumers over the long haul can be a daunting task. A recent study revealed that about 60% of new restaurants close within 3 years. So for a restaurant to still be going strong after 85 years is a monumental accomplishment. But that is just part of the legacy of the Palm Restaurant.
While the restaurant business is certainly challenging, at its core it's really quite simple. Serve great food with great hospitality and great value. But it's still a business. And it's those hundreds of things in running a business that can distract from the core mission. To have real staying power, you need to focus on 3 things. 1, hire great people and create a work environment that fosters trust and loyalty. 2, build real, genuine, lasting relationships with your guests. And 3, never ever vary from quality, only the best.
Palm philosophy is pretty simple. Serve great food, always exceed expectations, have a great time. We really believe that here it's just about the party. Very simple, celebrate life, come into the Palm, we'll take care of the rest.
That philosophy was born in 1926 when Pio Bazzi and John Ganzi opened the first Palm in New York City. From day one, Pio and John shared their commitment to quality and generosity of spirit with every guest who walked through their doors. Still owned and operated by members of the Bazzi and Ganzi families, the Palm continues to serve as a second home for countless patrons, thanks to the exceptional standard of hospitality established by its founders.
Many people who work for the Palm have worked 20, 25, 30 years. You don't find that any place. At the end of the day, we feel the Palm is not a chain, it's a family.
The origin of the Palm Restaurant and several of its traditions were a result of what the Palm family likes to call happy accidents.
The naming of the restaurant is actually an interesting story. When John Ganzi and my grandfather Pio Bazzi came to this country to open the restaurant, they had wanted to name it after where they came from, Parma, which is a town in Italy. In filling out the necessary papers, they spoke very little English. The person filling out the papers wrote down Palm, and they did not want to upset anybody, so they just went along with it, and for 85 years, we've been named the Palm.
Another happy accident was the cuisine the restaurant served.
We opened as an Italian restaurant in 1926 in New York City, but they started getting requests for steaks, so my grandfather or John would run across the street to a butcher shop and pick up a couple of steaks and have them cooked up, and shortly we've got a reputation for having terrific steaks, and it's evolved into a steak restaurant with Italian overtures, and I think that sets us apart from almost every other steakhouse.
One of the most storied traditions is the drawing of caricatures on the walls of the Palm restaurants.
That evolved from newspaper people who were the first non-neighborhood people to frequent the restaurant would come in, and when they were short of funds, my grandfather or John Ganzi would ask them to put their comic strip on the wall or the caricature of another customer, and it evolved into a huge success for us, and it's become a badge of honor for people to get on the wall now.
40 years after opening in the original location, the Palm had outgrown its cozy confines.
We were losing hundreds of people a night. We owned the building, so we decided to go upstairs. So we built a second-floor restaurant in the original Palm. About 4 years after that, President George Bush, then Ambassador George Bush, said, "You've got to come to D.C. and open a real American restaurant in D.C." So in 1972, we opened the Washington Palm Restaurant.
Because of the Palm's unwavering commitment to quality, the restaurant has always featured prime steaks in all of its locations.
The Palm features prime steaks because they're the best. Only 2 to 3% of the cattle produced will grade prime. What makes it the best is the fine and abundant marbling in the steak, which causes it to baste itself when cooked. But there's more than just starting with prime to create a great steak. We age our meat 35 days, which adds to the tenderness and flavor, trim it perfectly, and then cook it at a super high temperature, which sears in the flavor and adds a sweet, crispy char on the outside. I made myself hungry.
With nearly 30 locations throughout the U.S., as well as Mexico City, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and London, the Palm's owners have plans for further European expansion.
After 45 years of domestic expansion, we decided it was time to go to Europe. It took us 10 years to find our first location in London. It's doing phenomenal. And people say, how did you pick the cities that you would go to? Well, we picked it based on what our customers told us. They would demand us to go to a certain city. Once I got to that city, how do you get a good general manager? I stole our best waiters. And they had the restaurant abilities. They knew how to treat customers, how to make them feel great, special. I taught them the business end of the business.
The Palm's variety of menu options and price points make it an affordable option for dining out in a classic fine dining steakhouse venue.
In our 85 years in business, we haven't been afraid to change, although we will never vary from our owners' philosophy of treating staff and guests like family. Over the years, we have expanded our menu, adding a variety of price points and portion sizes. We popularized jumbo lobsters. We loosened the dress code in the 60s. Actually, Wally and Bruce did that while their fathers were on vacation, much to their surprise when they returned. And lastly, we've always stayed current with trends. Not fads, but true trends.
The 837 Club is a very exciting piece of our business. It represents over 100,000 members. And basically, for every dollar you spend, you receive a point. Very traditionally based loyalty program. And for those points, you're able to redeem trips, certificates to the Palm. It's great. It's a tremendous club, and perhaps the best piece of the club is our members become part of our family.
What began as a restaurant became a legend, a place to not only enjoy an excellent meal, but also catch up with old friends, meet new ones, close business deals, and celebrate family milestones. The Palm Restaurant, 85 years old and counting. To learn more about the Palm Restaurant or to make a reservation at one of its fine locations, visit thepalm.com.